Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, today I think the Bulls have taken a short break after a three-day record run that saw the Nifty hit a fresh record high yesterday. But mid and small caps, however, continue to outperform the benchmarks. Even yesterday, the small cap index was up 3%. Today, once again, it has amassed at least gains of somewhere around 1% or thereabouts. VIX, if you look at the volatility index, the India VIX index, it has cooled off further. 4% kind of a downtick today. Yesterday also it was down somewhere around 5%, Yatin. So it has come down below that 12 level. And if you look at the advanced decline ratio, on the NSE, it was at 3:1. So I think 1800 stocks advancing to every 500 stocks declining. So over 3.4:1, that was the advanced decline ratio on the NSE. Realty stocks deserve mention because yesterday as well the Realty index was up in excess of 4%. Today it was bucking the trend and was up somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. Remember, for FY24 as well, the Realty index was up 140%. In fact, on a YTD basis as well, the index is up 21% vis-a-vis a 3 to 4% kind of an uptick on the Nifty. So yes, overall outperformance coming in from the Realty pack. Aside of that, autos made a comeback today. Yesterday it was out of favor, but today autos were among the top gainers, barring Hero MotoCorp. Metals and oil and gas, these were the two pockets that were doing well today as well. On the losing end, you had IT stocks, under pressure, and so was the pharma pack. And if you look at the individual movers on the Nifty today, Tata Consumer, M&M, Bajaj Auto, which by the way hit a fresh record today, BPCL and Adani Ports. I think this stock also hit a fresh record high today, Yatin. Yesterday as well, it was up somewhere around 4% or so. On the flip side, you have Hero MotoCorp. Sales for the month of March disappointed, and it was reflecting in the stock price as well. The stock was the top Nifty loser today. HCL Tech, Kotak Mahindra Bank, TCS, Infosys, ICICI Bank. These were among some of the other losers. Nifty Bank Index also largely in the red today. Yatin, lots of movers in the broader end of the market, starting with I think Aditya Birla Fashion. That stock was the top Nifty 500 gainer, but lots of movers.
Yes, ABFRL, obviously the demerger news playing up. That stock was up nearly 15% intraday, ended the day high by nearly 11.5%. AB Capital and Macquarie had initiated coverage on this stock, post which the stock moved nearly 10% in trade. Varroc, Godfrey Phillips and Tanda were the other gainers in trade today. Obviously, Tata Technologies also gained after a tie-up with BMW. The stock soared nearly 7% intraday. And also, if you look at the overall momentum in the mid-caps, it was quite active for that particular space. Defense stocks, HAL and BEL also, moved smartly in trade, gaining by nearly 4-5% each. Metal stocks like SAIL also moved above 5%, one of the top traded counters in the F&O segment today. So, Nandita, it was a fair day today. Despite the Nifty closing by nearly 10-15 points, didn't matter much. But if you look at the advanced decline ratio of the market, it stood strong at almost 5:1. So no complaints for the markets.
I didn't also want to mention Paytm. It's a Moneycontrol exclusive that the company has resumed lending activities with its existing partners. Of course, there are also reports or sources that are telling us that the company is in talks to onboard Muthoot Finance as a new lending partner for merchant and personal loans as well. In reaction to this, this bit of news flow, we saw the stock of Paytm jump somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. This comes 2 months after Paytm stopped disbursing loans after RBI directive on the Paytm Payments Bank. Of course, all these partner banks and NBFCs were seeking more clarity from the RBI on this. But of course, that's also one stock that was in focus. But realty stocks, the outperformance, standing tall, 140% kind of gains in the last fiscal. This year itself, in the first 3 months itself, it has given returns of somewhere around 20% or thereabouts. The Nifty Realty Index hitting a fresh record high. But of course, there was a very positive report coming in from Morgan Stanley as well on the Realty pack, where it has upgraded the likes of Godrej to overweight, and target price has also been raised. But it has downgraded DLF, although it has raised the target price there. This is in accordance with the revision in pre-sales data, right? And Morgan Stanley is of the view that relative outperformance in the real estate pack was due to the pre-sales momentum. But it has also pointed out that in FY25 the guidance could be a little lower than what we saw actually in FY24. So the guidance could be in the range of 10 to 20% on a YOY basis, lower than the FY24 actual growth of 30 to 40%. And Morgan Stanley is pointing out that in this FY25 the focus will now shift from pre-sales to what kind of return on equity these shares are giving, right? So in terms of pre-sales momentum, what ranks better according to Morgan Stanley is Prestige Estates as well as Godrej Properties. And in terms of ROE, it says that Macrotech and Oberoi Realty, these are the companies or stocks that rank better on a return on equity basis. So, pre-sales momentum likely to slow down a bit, but Yatin, I also want to mention that this is the year when we are expecting the rates to come down, right, interest rates. So, that could also come as another fillip for the realty space, but I don't know whether all that good news is already in the price or not, because we've seen the realty shares, take off and how, right. So, that was about the realty stocks, but talk about your stock. Which one have you picked?
So, the entire defense pack, Nandita, and we have stocks like HAL, BEL, and at the day's high, nearly 4-5% gains coming in. Today, Jefferies has initiated the coverage on stocks like HAL. Target is 3,900 rupees per share. Data patterns, they have initiated a coverage. Target is 3,545. And BEL, the target stands at a tall 260 rupees per share, which means a decent 20% upside from the current market price. Now, the geopolitical shift and India's focus on domestic production will probably aid the overall defense sector, according to Jefferies. In fact, the government focus on building inter-country relation for export promotion is also the icing on the cake. And if you remember, yesterday India also exported 2 aircrafts to the country of Guyana, which was a landmark in itself. So I think India's focus on government-to-government transactions and Make in India should provide a big opportunity, according to Jefferies, for the domestic sector, and hence they are bullish on PSU stocks like BDL, BEL as well as HAL.
Right, defense clearly, seems to be the flavor, even though it has rallied quite a bit in FY24, the run continues in FY25 as well. Of course, the 3 darlings that you mentioned that Jefferies has picked, some of them of course hit fresh highs today as well. But let's talk about Aditya Birla Fashion. That's the second stock, so to say, on my list. The shares in fact rallied somewhere around 11% or thereabouts to clock its largest single day gain since June 2020. Of course, there is a demerger proposal on the table that has led to this kind of an up move on the stock. It is mulling the demerger of Madura Fashion and Lifestyle into a separate listed entity. Of course, demerger will enable the creation of 2 separately listed companies, and it is a strategic move that is aimed at unlocking value for shareholders. Aditya Birla Fashion is also looking to raise funds 12 months within 12 months of the demerger to infuse strength into its balance sheet. In fact, the demerger, after the of course post approval, it would be implemented through the NCLT scheme of arrangement. Of course, shareholders will have identical shareholding in the newly listed or newly formed entity as well. Aditya Birla Fashion is looking to create 2 growth engines for value creation. And let me give you a bit of a background as well, Yatin. Madura Fashion was actually a part of AB Nouveau, which was demerged from AB Nouveau back in 2016, and this was also a value unlocking, shareholder value unlocking exercise. And if you look at the financials, Madura Fashion has been contributing to approximately 60% of the consolidated revenue and 75% of the consolidated segment EBITDA, and it boasted of a margin of 15.6% in the first 9 months of FY24. If you look at ABFRL, ex Madura, the business accounted for about 42% of the top line and approximately 26% of the consolidated segment EBITDA, with a margin of somewhere around 7.5%. If you talk about the brands that MFL will have post demerger, Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly, Peter England, aside of other brands like American Eagle, Forever 21 and Reebok. And for ABFRL, that portfolio will have more competitive businesses of Pantaloon and style up fashion, as well as the ethnic and luxury businesses. Let's also take into account what the street has to say about the demerger. Citi has maintained a sell rating on ABFRL, but it has raised target marginally to 220 rupees. It expects moderate growth for Madura Fashion after the demerger. It says that profitability, return on capital employed and cash flows may improve, but growth may be a little lower for Madura Fashion. But for ABFRL, the growth will be relatively higher, whereas the profitability ROCE will be relatively lower. So this is the entire trajectory of the demerger and how it will impact the company going forward. But Yatin, of course, all this is subject to approval.
Absolutely, and knowing the Birla Group, they have been taking a lot of corporate action in the group companies. Previously, they also had a lot of demerger of their cement businesses in Century Textiles. They consolidated the cement business, and now I think Telecom, which is Vodafone Idea, and AB Fashion. These are the other businesses wherein we could see some good corporate action moving ahead.
Well, then those were all the stocks on our radar this afternoon. Of course, we did see the bulls taking a break today. Let's see, we come back with, let's hope rather we come back with renewed vigor tomorrow, and we reclaim that 22,500 mark. That seems to be a crucial level on the upside for the Nifty. But with that, completely timed out from me and Yatin. Thanks a lot for tuning in. But you guys stay tuned to Moneycontrol for all your other news and updates.